Dictation will start within 5 seconds. Start. There is no reversal of the title and possession of the state. Stop. However, this may not be true in cases where acquisition proceedings are still pending and land has not been vested in the government in terms of Section 16 of the Land Acquisition Act. Stop. Paragraph change. What is meant by the language of Section 27 of the BDA Act, that is, provisions of Section 36 shall become inoperative, is that if the acquisition proceedings are pending and where the scheme has lapsed, further proceedings in terms of Section 36 within bracket 3 of the BDA Act, that is, with reference to proceedings under the Land Acquisition Act, shall become inoperative. Stop. Once the land which upon its acquisition has vested in the state and thereafter vested in the authority in terms of Section 36 within bracket 3, such vesting is incapable of being disturbed except in the case where the government issues a notification for revesting the land in itself or a corporation or a local authority in cases where the land is not required by the authority under the provisions of Section 37 within bracket 3 of the BDA Act. Stop. This being the scheme of the acquisition within the framework of the State Act, read with the relevant provisions of the Central Act, it will not be permitted to bring the concept of lapsing of acquisition as stated in the provisions of Section 11A of the Land Acquisition Act into Chapter 4 of the BDA Act. Stop. The provisions of Section 27 of the BDA Act mandate the authority to execute the scheme substantially within 5 years from the date of publication of the declaration under Section 1 of Section 19. Stop. If the authority fails to do so, then the scheme shall lapse and provisions of Section 36 of the BDA Act will become inoperative. Stop. The provisions of Section 27 have a direct nexus with the provision of Section 36, which provide that the provisions of Land Acquisition Act, so far as they are applicable in the State Act, shall govern the cases of acquisition otherwise than by agreement. Stop. Acquisition stands on a completely distinct footing from the scheme formulated, which is the subject matter of execution under the provisions of the BDA Act. Stop. Paragraph change. On a conjoint reading of the provisions of Section 27 and Section 36 of the State Act, it is clear that where a scheme lapses, the acquisition may not. Stop. This, of course, will depend upon the facts and circumstances of a given case. Stop. Where upon completion of the acquisition proceedings, the land has vested in the state under the scheme of BDA Act, there are two situations, amongst others, where the rights of a common person are affected. Stop.